What can get me faster out of my reading slump, because I really want to hit my goal of reading this year and I really want to consume more books and different types of media and be more proactive about it. I went into the new year tackling my reading slump by grabbing the easiest book. Alright, so here was my strategy. Start with something that's easy to follow, easy to read, something small because I feel like a bigger book would have been daunting, and something that doesn't require that much thinking. I'm at page 89. That's how much I have gotten into. We're almost halfway to the book. So again, it's small, it's easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. I think the book is very predictable and easy. Of science, I'm very interested in certain realms of science. So it's really cute and quirky to read a love story about scientists. You know what you're getting into when you get into these cute, small romance novels. It's not that hard. You're not like looking at a 1,000-piece puzzle and trying to figure out where goes what when everything is looking like the same color. No, this is very, very self-explanatory. You can see the trope, you can see the cliches, and you can see everything unfold. You can even picture what's coming next. Like that. I like getting into something that I don't feel like I need to be too serious about it, because sometimes reading is just meant for me to clock out of the real world and get into something sweet and nice and fluffy. I rated 3 stars. Then that means we get to pick another book to help me even more get out of a reading slump. What was the point of this video? I don't know how long it's been. It actually hasn't been that long since I started recording this video, but it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, because for one, I've just been busy with work. Okay, I have a regular 9 to 5 and then I get tired. So it's kind of hard, okay? It's kind of hard. But anyway, I'm getting out of a reading rut. My lips are dry and so is my mouth, but most of it is because I'm making it worse by eating pistachios. Let's see how far along I am in this book. So this book is called Happily Never After. It's my first book ever that I'm reading on a Kindle. Cool, right? Okay. So here are my thoughts so far on Happily Never After. The book is easy to read and it's fun. So I'm happy that I'm enjoying it because, again, the strategy was to read things that would help me get out of my reading rut. What I will say is I'm not really a big fan of the book. And that's so far because there's just a whole lot of unnecessary cussing. And I don't like that in books. Have the tasteful curse word here and there. I think that's okay. But when it's like every other 5 sentences that you have to throw in a cuss word, as we're grown. This airport air is not doing anything good for my hair. I finished my book on the first flight and then I downloaded my other book on my e-reader. So I'm going to be reading it on my e-reader instead of pulling it out, which is going to be so convenient for me. I'm gonna have more thoughts and opinions on Happily Never After by Lynn Pinson because I just finished it and I got thoughts and opinions. Good morning. It is 10:18 in Arizona. I finished Happily Never After. I still need to rate it on my Fable account because Goodreads pissed me off, so I'm on Fable now. And I'm just gonna go say it off the top of my head. This is like totally unscripted. I just don't really feel like thinking about it. I would rate Happily Never After 3 out of 5 stars. It was pretty average for me. Here are the things that irked me about this story. A lot of cussing. I frankly don't care if the character has a foul mouth. I care if it's tasteful or if it's clear that you just think every sentence requires you to have some type of beep, 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 beep. Like that's how I felt like I was reading it. I felt like it was very basic. I liked the story though. It was very entertaining. It was it's a new idea that I saw in romance. It was pretty funny. I just felt like it was a little basic. Like there was no consequence. Like I thought there was gonna be consequence of being caught objecting at weddings so close in your area in your city. Wish there was more exploration. Like the only exciting part of the book was the sex scenes, and then that means that you just don't really have a good story if the only exciting part is the sex scenes. Would I read it again? No, but am I happy that I read it? Yeah, because it was like a fun time and it got me back into reading. So there's that. Okay, if for anybody that likes this book, please don't come at me. I brought the Sky Shade book. And I was like, oh my god, I actually really wish for this book to be in the library so I can rent it out. And then I went, oh wait, I never checked. Let me check. And so I did, and no one had borrowed it. And I was like, yeah! Like I screamed, I was like, yeah! So I borrowed the I borrowed the book. My e-reader, and I'm gonna have my headphones on and my glasses, and I'm just gonna be sitting at locations. I'm gonna be sightseeing, and then when I want to chillax, I'm gonna pull out this book and I'm gonna read and be like discreet. Be suspicious, don't be suspicious. But yeah, so it could have backfired with Happily Never After, but I actually ended up enjoying it. So now I feel really ready to transition into something a lot more difficult to get into. And this is not actually difficult, but I'm just saying it's a step up, because obviously it takes a little bit more thought to get into a world. But because I already like the world and I like the story, it shouldn't be hard, because I'm actually excited to see how the story ends, and it's gonna piss me off if it ends a certain way that I think it's gonna end. And I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts on this book. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I got out of my reading funk. I think we accomplished what this video was for. This is such low quality. I'm sorry, but I really want to share my thoughts. I finished it 2 days ago. I have thoughts, and we're gonna make it quick. But I usually rate this series nearing 4 stars or 4 stars itself. So the first book I rated 3.5. The second book I rated 4 stars, but this is the first one that really disappointed me and it pisses me off. And I'm okay. So I gave this 3.2 stars. If you know the Light Lark series, you will know that there is a love triangle happening. As a matter of fact, in this book, it is very clear that the love triangle, the romance itself, is pretty much the backbone of this story. I also still had my criticisms. For one, the lack of diversity. 2, the fact that the author promotes this as a mix of the Hunger Games, just sprinkle fantasy, but it's literally giving more selection rather than Hunger Games. 3, it's promoted as an enemies to lover, but more like lovers to enemies, but the audience wasn't aware that there was some love in the beginning, because we play hella catch up in the second book. But it's promoted as enemies to lovers, and I just don't agree with that. Number 4, it often feels like the female main character will be written to be a badass rather than her be a complex character that does badass things. 5, the world building was more relationship building until we got to the second book where Alex decided to focus more on expanding the universe. Anyways, despite me liking the first book, those were my main criticisms. This particular book focuses so much on the relationship, and we get a sliver of one of the guys and the dynamic that she has with him, and it's mainly Grim and Isla. Those are the characters in there, or some of the characters in there, okay? In this book, I will say that Alex Astor, the author, focused a lot more on world building this place for the audience and introducing them to how that realm, this particular realm that we're in, lives. The first half of the book, though, felt like a lot of side quests were happening, and it wasn't until 50% into the book where we started heading into a clear direction. I say some things, like I feel like we lost the OG plot. There's definitely a different plot going on. By the time that you hit 90%, suddenly it's like 6 pages of information dump clicking in together, and suddenly the main character just knows how to piece this all together. I know you're trying to be like, ooh, everything gets solved in the last minute. There's too many mysteries, there's secrets, there's betrayals. I just feel like Alex Astor has a predictable way of setting things up now, because this is the third book where she's done the exact same thing, the same way where she's taken the story. Like once you hit 90%, suddenly things get wrapped up, and it's just a little bit too wrappable. Say that Alex does a good job at picking up the pace at the end and amping up the adrenaline. I can read it really well in her writing when the fight scene / climax is happening. I was 95% in the book when I thought to myself that there was no way this wasn't going to end on a cliffhanger. Alex Astor promoted this book as it being the last one, the third one. It was going to be a trilogy. Light Lark was going to be a trilogy. Come to find out, 2 more books are now in the works to officially end the Light Lark series. And what makes me really upset about this is that Alex Astor promoted this as a trilogy, that there would be no other books. And and then it just gets found out that it's like, that's just not the case. And, I don't have a problem with getting excited about a series that you like continuing, but what I have a problem with is that I feel like this book was meant to be a trilogy. And I don't really want to guess what happened behind the scenes, but I just feel like this book was meant to be a trilogy and then it was told not to be, okay? Because the way that things were going, it just felt like a lot of filler, which is not surprising because again, the first half of the book felt like it was a lot of side quests somehow connecting later on together, but then we get to this like clear quest and then clear direction. Now I've moved on to this book. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for coming along with me. Thank you so much for designating me as your new up and coming favorite booktuber / whatever the hell else I put on here, because I just like art, and so I will put other things on here, but mainly I do want to talk about books. Yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy my sarcastic humor, and I'm literally foaming at the mouth because I feel like I'm talking so much, so now I need water and I need to get ready because yeah, it's time to explore. I'm doing